I do make a distinction between those two kinds of true. And the reason for it is because I'm not a big believer in the sophism, which is basically, yeah, make whatever true whatever you feel like. It's not a big deal. There is a big deal. If you just make things true that are convenient to be true for that point in time, you will do a lot of damage in the long term, either to a relationship or to a group of people or a society in general. So moving someone into the no room or the yes room is a habit. In other words, when people are being forced in a situation where they're saying no, no, no repetitively, and I will say this in a crude way, but there's a refinement to this that will come in. So this is not as black and white as it may sound. When you move someone to the no room and get them to reject ideas constantly, they'll get to the point where they'll reject more ideas. Right? That's what happens when you got some no's, you just little trance themes, and then, yeah, I kind of would like the idea, but no, not working for me. Right? The same is the opportunity in the reverse. When you get people more into the yes room, and you present your suggestions, in this case in the form of pleasantness, relaxation, and so on, they form that mental habit of saying yes. They go into the yes room as a matter of habit or routine, and then it continues in the relationship. So then people like Kieran will find that they were looking for the opportunity to say yes, even though they were being forced to say no, which is another little psychological paradigm you can then use as a lever, right? Now this is where it gets very important, folks. If being in the no room makes things false, and being in the yes rooms makes things true, even if they weren't true before to start with, just like the wind phenomena that we were talking about. And if our experiences will, are accurate enough to say that getting someone to agree will build agreement, and so the yes room gets built up more and more, then this is the important point. Truth, at least the way most people think about it, is a habit. It is a mental habit. It becomes true because they're used to thinking of it as true, or it's in a context where enough other things are accepted as true that it slips right along with it. Truth becomes more of a question of mental habit than truth, as the way most people think of it. Do you get the idea? But this is the important thing. There's a difference between what's true with a capital T and what's true with a small t. This is the truths with a small t. That's because the nature of how most people make things true is through the law of association. They've been told it often enough by the right people in the right context, and it becomes true because of that. That means that we can train or change virtually any reality, because most of the things people think are true have no capital letters in it. You understand what I mean by this? This is very important if you want to become an influencer. Now notice I do make a distinction between those two kinds of true. And the reason for it is because I'm not a big believer in the sophism, which is basically, yeah, make whatever true whatever you feel like. It's not a big deal. There is a big deal. If you just make things true that are convenient to be true for that point in time, you will do a lot of damage in the long term, either to a relationship or to a group of people or a society in general. Because, well, there's a huge amount of philosophy behind it, I guess, but essentially, if you keep changing what's true to make what's convenient true, you'll eventually lose trust. Because when people are looking for truth, they're looking for a measure of certainty, or at least longevity within it. Does that make sense? But just because they're looking for it doesn't mean that what they found has a capital letter in it.
If you found this insightful, make sure to subscribe for more fascinating discussions on the power of the mind and hypnosis.